Yo, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Freedom Marchers, Freedom Family, Freedom Lovers, and Freedom Fighters. Snapzilla Gorillas in the building. Getting into this live stream. Gonna hit y'all upside the head with this morning paper. Hitting y'all upside the head with this morning paper. I'm a little late because of things, okay? So it is what it is. Bear with me. Don't have to do any work today, so, you know. Salute to Shy Killings in the building. Salute to Black Spring with Autumn. She dropped a link to my book, The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease. So y'all go check that out. I plan on doing another edition where I will be updating the cover. I'll be updating the book cover. So, you know, looking forward to that. You guys look out for that one. But yes, you guys go copy a copy of The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease, y'all. Go check that out. Anyway, so the fun never stops, you guys. The fun never stops with this Charlie Kirk situation because, you know, we are in the middle of a psyop right now, and it seems to be working out. You know, there are a lot of issues with a lot of the stories that a lot of the people involved are telling us, and we don't know who to trust, who not to trust. So in those cases, it's best not to trust anybody until they start showing receipts. Salute to Real Eyes in the building. Salute to the Queen Real Eyes. Salute to Sheila Davidson. Salute to you. Good morning. It's best not to trust anybody until they start showing solid receipts. You know, you got all these people coming out debunking this and debunking that, countering this and countering that, but they're not bringing no information. They're not bringing any receipts. They're not confirming or verifying. And, you know, these are people that should be able to do these things, right? These people should be able to do it. These people should be able to bring you information that they have because they have so much access, right? These people have access to Charlie Kirk's life. These people have access to Charlie Kirk's emails, access to Charlie Kirk's this and that. And specifically, Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk has this access. This guy, Covell, right, who's supposed to be Charlie Kirk's best friend. How many best friends does Charlie Kirk have, by the way? This man has 8,000 best friends. Most of them you have never heard of, right? And this Covell character, you got Covell, you got Turning Point USA people, you got Candace Owens, you got Tucker Carlson, you got Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly is now feeling the pressure, right? They are trying to ostracize and isolate Candace Owens. And even with Candace Owens, it's like, boo-boo. Candy girl. Come on, Candy girl. Come on with it, Candy girl. You know you got some shit. If you got shit to show us, quit playing games with these people. You can't play games with these people. You have to, you got to knock it off, okay? So Candace Owens comes out in response to this letter, right? She comes out in response to this letter, and she goes in on Turning Point USA. She calls out Turning Point USA. She calls out the executives of Turning Point USA, says that they should be ashamed of themselves, you know, in regards to this letter, right? So she's not questioning the veracity of the letter, in my opinion, when she's talking about this, right? When she's talking about the letter, when she's talking about Bibi Netanyahu and Bibi Netanyahu and all that, she's not discounting the veracity of the letter, right? She's not saying whether or not Charlie Kirk wrote it or not, but she is saying that, you know, she's asking questions like, was this letter mailed to y'all? Was it an email? You know, if you guys are best friends, why does he have to give, and this is a great question. If Benjamin Nosferatu was so close with Charlie Kirk? Why did Charlie Kirk have to give him his phone number in the letter? There are a lot of great questions. There are a lot of questions that we had to ask about this letter. But Candace Owens is calling out Turning Point USA executives, telling them to, challenging them to prove her to be a liar about whether or not Charlie Kirk had completely changed his mind about his support for Israel, right? Candace Owens is telling us that Charlie Kirk's support of Israel had completely gone away. Like, he had completely pulled his support very vehemently and very definitively from Israel, right? That's what she said, right? And okay, if this is the case, Candace Owens, tell us, show us where how you know this information, right? You're making these claims, right? Because let's be real, before she said Charlie Kirk in the past 6 months was beginning to change his mind about Israel, right? That, like, he had started to have a shift, a change of faith, or a crisis of faith, and all these different things. She wasn't as, dead set on the idea that Charlie Kirk had completely pulled his support from what Israel is doing in Palestine. But now she's just coming out with it. Like, look, Charlie Kirk had decided to fully remove his support from Israel, right? Now, when it comes to Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, they don't say that. They say basically, well, he was kind of having a shift in his ideology, or, they weren't as definitive as Candace Owens is. But Candace Owens is calling out Turning Point USA. She's saying, listen, if I'm lying, prove that I'm lying. Prove that Charlie Kirk was not changing his mind about Israel. Prove it. She's calling him out. Okay, cool, right? Cool. Because she's saying, you guys, if what I'm saying is a lie, you guys can prove that I'm lying. Well, here's the problem, Candace Owens. You can't prove a negative. How is Turning Point USA going to prove that Charlie Kirk didn't change his mind about Israel completely? Right? Unless, well, I guess in this case you can, if maybe somewhere Charlie Kirk has said, or maybe there's a audio recording or a video recording that we're not aware of, where Charlie Kirk is saying in recent days before his death, I fully support Israel and what they're doing. I believe they're acting in self-defense in Gaza. I have no problem with what Israel is doing. If you have something like that that shows recently before Charlie Kirk's death, in recent times before Charlie Kirk's death, that he was still standing in full support of Israel, okay, maybe there's something out there that speaks to that. But in the months after this letter, Charlie Kirk was demonstrating more and more that he had an issue with Israel. Now, nowhere that I have seen, just like many others haven't seen, where Charlie Kirk had so vehemently pulled his support from Israel, like Candace Owens is saying. So I understand what Candace Owens is trying to do. She's trying to call out Turning Point USA. She's calling out Turning Point USA for how they are behaving in Charlie Kirk's death, how they're moving along, and how they're still trying to perform business, and they're not really mourning Charlie Kirk. They're not calling out Israel. They're not calling out the issues with the investigation that the FBI is putting on. They're not doing these things, right? They seem to be in full support of the FBI narrative. That's what it seems to be. And it definitely is a real thing that Erica Kirk is not challenging anything openly and in public in regards to the FBI narrative. So these are real things that Candace Owens is talking about. But the problem with Candace Owens is that she's being a goddamn tease, y'all. Candace Owens is being a tease, and it's like, okay, At some point, you're going to have to back up what you're saying. You're going to have to show receipts. Candace Owens is going, listen, you're going to have to come out and show the receipts. You're making these threats. You're talking about releasing videos. Why are we waiting to release videos? What videos are you referring to? JB2 says, and they lied about the story. Candace Owens is a nutcase. Ashley Schaefer, BMW. That's what I believe that's what they want you to believe about Candace Owens. Because Candace Owens is extremely isolated. They're trying to, well, not extremely. They're trying to get Megyn Kelly to openly, remove any connection to and Candace Owens. They want her to separate herself from Candace Owens, you guys. But right at this point in time, Megyn Kelly's like, no, I'm not going to do that just for y'all. But we'll see what happens. Justin sent the trophy. Salute to you. I appreciate that. Thank you. So Candace Owens is going to have to come out with it, right? Because I'm getting tired of Candace Owens making these declarative statements, saying this and saying that Charlie Kirk, that she has videos of Charlie Kirk that shows certain things when he was killed, and she's not putting this information out here, talking about dropping these videos and releasing text messages and this and that. What the fuck are you waiting on, Candace? What are you waiting on? You sound like you're full of shit right now. I appreciate that, Justin. Ross says I watched Candace for the first 2 episodes. After that, like you said, it's a tease. What? Why? Candace, like you are an open anti-Israeli government genocide person. You openly disagree with Israel. You are openly coming out and saying that Israel was Bibi Nosferatu and Charlie Kirk was having some sort of beef, right? You said Charlie Kirk refused funding from Bibi Nosferatu, and you're not the only one. So that I actually believe that. I feel like there's enough people coming out and saying that. Okay, I believe it. But when it comes to information you have that might give it an idea what happened to Charlie Kirk, on how he was really killed. Salute to Black Spring with Autumn. Salute to you, Queen. Make sure you drop your link. Who is you? You know Charlie Kirk. She knew him. Huh? Tucker and Megyn won't even mention Candace's name. Candace is on to something big time. Well, Megyn Kelly actually did mention Candace Owens when she responded to a tweet from some guy named Florida Dad that asked her to stop supporting or actually openly disparage Candace Owens. JB2 says she knows him and loved him, period. She has to be careful to protect her family. Well, here's the problem. She's already exposed. Her family's already exposed to any danger that might come to her. There's no point in holding back anything at this point in time. There really is not. Right? The cat's out of the bag. Candace Owens has been going against Israel because of their genocide for the last 2 years. Almost immediately. Like, as soon as she saw, oh, they're killing babies. Oh, they're killing babies over there in Gaza. Oh, hell no. She has been standing firm against Israel for the last 2 years. She got fired by Ben Shapiro. She could no longer be involved with Turning Point USA. She was ostracized already. Plausible not liability for what? This is what I'm saying about Candace Owens. She keeps talking about this receipt she has and then says, well, I'm not going to release it right now. Well, why even mention the goddamn receipts? Just ask your questions. If Candace Owens has questions that she might have answers to, and she wants to see what other people are going to bring to the table, okay, well, cool. All right. I'm not even going to mention that I have video. I'm not going to mention text messages. I'm not going to mention that I have any receipts. I am going to give others an opportunity to do the right thing. And then bombshell that bitch. Michael D number 2 says, thank you, exactly. Receipts don't mean shit. She's just pushing narratives out there. Look at her views. Well, I mean, listen, Candace Owens going to have views, right? And this whole idea about people are doing content for views, that's what we do it for, right? I want views. I want more views so I can push the message of freedom, right? I want you guys support. I want you guys to hit the like button. I want y'all to share, because look, the more people that are exposing government lies and government bullshit and government ties to big corporations and big banks who they truly represent, when you really discover that they don't represent you and they demonstrate that every time they have an opportunity, yes, I want to help expose that. So yes, the more views, the better. The more likes, the better. Speaking of which, where are my likes? Let's get the likes up, please. Someone says patience, bro. Okay, I get it. Yes, have patience. I'm being harsh by telling her to release any evidence she has to any impropriety from Turning Point USA, any impropriety from BB Nosferatu, any impropriety from the FBI. What are we talking about? What are we waiting on? Someone asks, is this jealousy? No, it's not. Jealousy of what? I'm not in Candace Owens' position. Nor do I want to be. Mike D says, Michael D number 2 says, right, but you're not throwing things out there into the ether like they had a weird energy, or I feel this no show me facts, because what you're doing is making people question shit erroneous. Huh? Michael D number 2, you don't have to. I don't understand. Alam's Rager unfortunately states that a person who killed Charlie Kirk was the furry lover. You mean Occam's razor? First of all, Occam's razor dictates that the scenario with the least amount of questions is the one that's least likely to be the case. And mentioning a razor or this thing, that doesn't prove anything. No one has yet to prove that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. It has not been proven. He has not been convicted. And unfortunately, there are way too many questions about how Tyler Robinson had anything to do with it. All the information they give us raises more questions than it answers. So Occam's razor actually says that that is the least likely scenario. Anastasia Barunda says she's a real one. I don't care if it's clickbait. She's telling the truth in a world full of lies. No disrespect, all love. Well, if she's telling the truth, back the truth up with irrefutable evidence. Or with something, right? She's telling other people to prove shit. Salute to Waving LMAO. Salute. Jamie Burlington. Yeah, Mossad is very powerful. Salute to Derry C. Williams in the building. Y'all check him out, man. Hey, make sure you drop your link, Derry C. Williams. Yeah, respect due to the man. This man. Freedom's March is the name. Lamert Park Stand Up. A quick pop in from Medical Center in Radnor, Pennsylvania. Listening and monitoring your chat. Salute to you, bro. Salute to the brother Derry C. Williams. Lacey Gross says, do you watch the same Candace I do? Oh, no, she didn't say that. She said, I'm a married woman, but your eyes are beautiful. I appreciate that, Lacey Gross. I appreciate that. Thank you. Clara Bonnet says, that's my opinion. Do I watch same Candace I do? You do? I don't know. Do you? Do I? You know, AI technology, you never know. John Duh says, luckily, no one has had the balls to tell me I'm fascist in person yet. But if they do, my hands will be at the ready. Okay? So your feelings get hurt if you get called names. You want to hurt people. Sounds good. You know, speaking of that, you know, this dude Brandon Tatum. Let me. Brandon Tatum is the softest motherfucker on earth. Let me tell you that right now. You're upset because people are saying things about Charlie Kirk that you don't like. And so you come out and say, if you say anything disrespectful about Charlie Kirk in front of me, I'm going to put my hands on you. What kind of bitch made shit is that? That's my, I seriously. Seriously. This is a guy that would tell people that free speech is important. But yet you come out and say, if you disrespect Charlie Kirk, you're going to put your hands on him. What? Ben Chan, I don't know if you're a woman or a man. You're probably a man, but I don't. This is a very fallacious statement right here. I don't understand. You are too handsome not to understand Candace. I don't understand why you're so opposed to her. She is doing a great job. What does my looks have to do with whether or not I believe Candace or whether or not I understand Candace? I'm not going against her. I'm telling her what I would tell anybody. You have this information. You have these videos. You have these text messages. You're telling us you have this information. You're coming out and debunking certain aspects of range day videos, and you're telling people that you have rear-facing camera footage and front-facing camera footage. And you're not even telling us what you saw. You're just telling us what you didn't see. And I'm saying you should do that. There's no reason to hold that information off. Penny Wilson says she's loved Tatum and she follows him. Good for you. Darcy Williams says he got a pro-Israel really quickly, seemingly out of nowhere. Well, you know, Brandon Tatum does not operate on his own. That's why he came out and said that silly, stupid ass shit about hitting people that disrespect Charlie Kirk in front of him. I tell you what, if Brandon Tatum ever sees this, because, you know, I did a live stream the other day and talking about him and how I feel like he's a shill for Israel. And I'm pretty sure he had the monetization for that live stream limited. So I think, and he has me blocked. I tell you what, Brandon Tatum, you want to fight somebody so bad, you always talking about you want to put your hands on somebody. I'm your Huckleberry. Let's just skip past all the bullshit. I don't need to disrespect Charlie. You want to fight? All right, come on. We can get it cracking. We can get the gloves on. We can make it a YouTube, whatever the fuck. This man wants to hurt people so bad for words. Okay. Let's get it out there. Let's see if you can get your frustration out. We can make it sanctioned. I'll get in touch with Blue Blood from BLK Prime and we can get it cracking. You want to fight, put your hands on somebody. All right. I'm your Huckleberry. I don't know why you got to threaten people who use words to determine how they feel about another man. I understand that he's dead and you want to defend his honor. What is he, your wife? You his husband? Why you want to defend his honor so bad that you would risk going to prison for putting your hands on because of fucking words? It's fucking out of control. He's always doing that. Well, I will face the challenge. Danny Monroe says Brandon Tatum does not speak for all CK supporters. I know he doesn't. H. Dixon says, what honor? I'm just saying, he's acting like he's defending Charlie Kirk's honor, like it's bitch made, in my opinion. Anyway, Jamie Burlington is getting upset. So anyway, And so here's the thing too. What's his name? COVID or whatever, Cove or Charlie Kirk's homie. He's saying that the letter's real. Brandon Tatum, but he's not definitively saying. I don't think it's enough of a confirmation or enough of a verification from COVID. And then Brandon Tatum said that from what he understands in the best way possible, from people that know better than me, it's a real letter. No one has proven anything. They're just saying words, right? Call to violence is not freedom of speech. Corporations have a right to choose who they have on air. People were calling for his wife and children's death. That's the issue. What's the issue? Lazy Grove says, I think emotions get the best of us, not saying it's okay, but it does happen. Listen, Brandon Tatum has a pattern of threatening to put his hands on somebody for mere words. So that means that he has shown a consistent pattern of being emotional and wanting to put his hands on somebody, because that's how he feels like. That's the only way I can handle people saying something I don't like. Right? It's crazy to me. LaShawna says, good morning, handsome. I appreciate you. Thank you. Good morning, Queen. Sean Dinkins says, yo, you have a doppelganger. You look just like my older brother. Oh, okay. That's what's up. I haven't watched him a lot, just a few times. Well, that's the problem, right? But this is the same man. Like, he used to be a police officer. And he used to, well, he once said in one of his videos that when he was trained to be a police officer, they're trained, right? So let's say he says that if an 80-year-old woman calls in a burglary, yeah, he was SWAT. If an 80-year-old calls in a break-in of a burglary at her house, an 80-year-old woman, that they have to be prepared when they show up to kill that 80-year-old woman. That's what he said. I covered that in a live stream a long time, a few years ago, during the COVID-19 pandemic, during all the lockdowns. This man said that you have to be prepared to kill the 80-year-old woman that called the police to help her. That's what this man said. This is the mentality of this dude right here. He said some guy was doing something at the Walmart. He went to Walmart or went to Home Depot or something like that. And the guy flicked him off or whatever. I guess he recognized him. Some white dude. And guess what? He wanted to beat the dude up. He got mad because the dude flicked him off. Did a hand gesture. He wanted to follow the dude to his car and beat his ass. This is the type of dude you're talking about. Clown World says, what is this dude yapping about? Well, Clown World's name speaks for itself. I'll just say that. Salute to the beautiful Desiree Oliver in the building. Good morning to you, Queen. The beautiful Desiree Oliver is in here. Good morning, Chandilla. Is it Chandia or Candia? Oh, I remember you. Candia. Chandia. Good morning, Queen. Yes, it's a lack of discipline. Someone says stay on point. Well, this is how I operate on my channel, man. We might get off into different topics. It just is what it is. Like, I don't have a script. I don't have notes or a producer. I'm just speaking off the top of the dome and from the heart. You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is, these people are telling us shit they want us to believe. Nobody is providing any definitive information. Desiree Oliver. Y'all ain't gonna keep coming in here calling my YouTube husband handsome now. Oh, you're making your boy blush. Desiree Oliver. Salute to you. Yes. Salute to my YouTube wife, Desiree Oliver, being territorial in the building. Darcy Williams drops the link to my book, Deceased Dark Matter Disease. Please go purchase that book. Or if you have, here's the thing, y'all. If y'all got Kindle, y'all can get my book for free. Go ahead and get the book for free, y'all. And go check that out. Jamie Burlington, chill, bro. Chill. LaShawna. That's adorable. Anyway, yeah, so none of these motherfuckers are bringing the receipts. Nobody. The book's name is The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease. It's on Amazon. Darcy Williams dropped the he dropped the link in the chat. Y'all can go up there. Darcy Williams dropped the link. If you got Kindle, it's free. If you want the ebook, it's $3.99 if you don't got Kindle, y'all. Sarah but Riffley Jean, salute to you, Queen. Jay says book is trash, but you haven't read the book. What we talking about? We talking about Candace Owens. We're talking about Candace Owens going in on Turning Point USA. And do I have a problem with that? No, I don't. But you keep making these statements. Everybody wants us to be patient. Oh, be patient. Candace Owens will drop this and drop that. She'll do this and she'll do that. But when? Right? We can't listen. Listen. Okay, Candace may be afraid for her safety. But I don't think she really is. I think she knows, listen, that she does talk a lot. Absolutely. Yes, Darcy Williams did review my book on his channel. Yes, it's a great story. You guys will enjoy it. Lots of twists and turns. But Candace Owens, essentially, life is already in danger. It's as in danger as it's going to be. So, I think it is beneficial to her safety to release this information. Yes, nobody likes someone who can think. Well, there are people that do like people that can think, like I do. Jonathan Lee says, I like your style. Salute to you, bro. Derry C. Williams, I appreciate you. Yes, we the sheeple. Red and blue don't give a shit about you. And listen, man, if Candace Owens is genuine in her pursuit to get the truth out, I don't think that she needs to hide. I don't think she just needs to release. Release. What is she waiting on? Is she waiting to be attacked to release this shit? Like, what's the deadline for Turning Point executives to prove Candace Owens wrong before she releases information? I'm pretty sure there has been multiple threats on Candace Owens' life throughout the years, as well as, once you get to a certain level and you start saying things people don't like, and you become the target of very powerful individuals, it is what it is. Mr. Minnesota says she ain't gonna do shit. Listen, do I care about Charlie Kirk? No, I don't. What I do care about is the idea that powerful entities that start to speak out, powerful entities who target individuals that start to speak out against their tyranny, is a problem. That's what I care about. Because if we just lay back and say, you know what, fuck Charlie Kirk. He was a racist. He was divisional. He was divisive. He was this, he was that. And we just let the chips fall where they may. That can be a problem for our leaders. Yes, it's a huge problem. We cannot allow this. Light skin Riz. And you know what? At this point, Desiree Diaz, I don't give a fuck he was racist or not. Because I don't think he died because people, I don't think he was killed by people that thought he was racist. I think he was killed because he started to speak out against powerful elites. He was becoming aware, and he was coming to the point where, oh shit, look at the atrocities. Look at who's really in control. I think he started to see. I think he started, it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz when you see the man behind the curtain. I think he started to see the person behind the curtain, or the people, the entities behind the curtain, and they said, you know what? And Charlie Kirk, he just didn't step fast enough. He should have went all the way out. When you start trying to find slick ways to expose the truth, and you don't speak out 100% against the real atrocities, they will take you out because they can still pin it on someone else, right? Charlie Kirk gave them too much opportunity to mitigate the potential problem he can bring, because he wasn't open enough, right? He wasn't open enough. He was trying to be slick, right? He was trying to be slick, and they said, oh, no, we're going to take you out before you come out fully against Israel. Because Candace Owen said that he didn't die a supporter of Israel. He died firmly against Israel. Well, if he was open about that, I think, and if he was open about that earlier, like earlier in the year, or maybe even last year, I feel like he would still be alive. I feel like he would be in a position Candace Owens is in. Derek C. Williams said he's definitely had a hold on the young and the elite and had to be stopped. Yes. Andrew Cottrell says we need to get away from AIPAC and stand for ourselves. And she wants justice for a friend, and that is something we should all take a page from. You can't toe the line. I agree. And at this point, Candace Owens, I mean, there's no point in withholding any information. Blow it out of the water. Right? Desiree Oliver says, Desiree Diaz, don't come in here being blasphemous. Two things can be tricky at the same time. He was a racist and a bigot, but also becoming enlightened about the truth behind the curtain. Exactly, Desiree Oliver. And we got to get away from these false dichotomies, from these false choices, from these false dilemmas. Two things can be true. There is no being a racist bigot is not mutually exclusive from being enlightened, from who's truly in power. And if what I think is that maybe perhaps Charlie Kirk was fighting against this idea that black folks and the left aren't really a problem. That the real problem are the elite class motherfuckers that are driving this wedge between the proletariat class, right? Driving this wedge, perpetuating division along racial lines, along political lines, so that the elite class can continue to do what they want to do. Right? Because the elite class don't care about left or right. They don't care about who votes for what. They don't care who's president. Alan Greenspan told you that. Alan Greenspan told y'all years ago, go look it up, when they asked him about the relationship between the Federal Reserve and the president. He said that as long as they stay in line, and as long as they stay on purpose and on code with what the Federal Reserve wants, we don't care. We don't care nothing about none of that. Right? They don't care about which side you vote for. As long as they don't fuck with the Federal Reserve, who controls the monetary system of this country, they don't care. Every vote is a vote for us. So the elite class, I think Charlie Kirk was becoming aware. The elite class, right? The APACs, big oil, big pharma, right? The World Economic Forum, headed by Charles Schwab and all these cats, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, all these cats, and the cats you will never know about, the 3 big food companies. These are the people that really run the world and run the country. They don't give a hot damn about a left or right, a black or white. They don't care about none of that. They want y'all to care about it so they can continue to operate as they do. They need us to be distracted by left or right paradigm bullshit. Aaron Russo's Freedom of Fascism is the best documentary on the power of the Federal Reserve. Man, y'all need to go check that out. If you don't understand the level of power the Federal Reserve has, then that's something that you need to become aware of. Cabbage Face says cap. What's cap? I hate that word. I feel like Big Pharma. Yes, Big Pharma. Dwight Patterson said Charlie Kirk was not a racist. What debates y'all been listening to? Okay, thank you for that. Desiree, the beautiful Desiree Oliver said, John Smith, I know and love in an area where people make an exception for that one black friend or a few, but still look down on others. I had to end a friendship because of it. Yes, they do that. And that's the reality. Even though you can be aware that they want that division along racial lines, along political lines, but that doesn't mean that racism does not exist. It does exist. Racial discrimination exists. Some white people hate black people. Some black people hate white people. It is what it is. These institutions are set up for that. They set these institutions up for that. The justice system, the political system, right? The justice system, the executive branch system, the legislative system, they're all set up for that purpose. It's not going to be outright, but it's set up to be obvious. But at the same time, if you try to call it out, you'll be called a race baiter. But I have shown in multiple live streams, I show receipts and evidence to show that the system is racist. Well, they created the system that way so that's the struggle, that's the fight, right? The girl Figgy says, I watch a fan of Candace Owens even when I was such a fan of Candace Owens, even when everyone hated her, I was defending her, but every now and then she's looking a little suspect too now. Well, yeah, because she's not showing the receipts. I need her to show receipts. I need her to come out with the receipts. Charlie only pointed to the facts. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he wasn't. That's not true. That's not true at all. Derek C. Williams says, I've been to the Federal Reserve branch here in Philadelphia. There's one of all 6 across the country. Yeah, and it's not federal, by the way. The Federal Reserve is not federal. It's not part of the government. It's a private entity. It's a conglomeration of banks. Banks you'll never hear of. It's not Bank of America, Wells Fargo. No, not that bank. No, it's a whole different ball of wax, y'all. Anyway, I don't care if y'all think Charlie Kirk was racist or not. That's irrelevant. Andrew Hernandez says, I'm white, got caught in the same system. Well, obviously you're going to be caught in the same system. Divine Energy says facts. Yes, self-police banks. Here's the problem with the system that everybody can get caught up in, but they won't get caught up to the same degree. I also showed in one live stream, you guys can go back to my community tab. The name of the live stream, it says the problem with convenient convenient statistics. Go back and check that out. See, white folks, right? Because that's always the dichotomy, white versus black. That's what they want to present. White folks commit the same amount of crime as black folks at the same rate. But white folks don't get policed as much, nor do they get as harsh as sentences as black folks for the same crimes. So yes, you can get caught up in the same system, but not to the same degree. Someone says not true at all. I don't care what you're talking about. I done already proved it. Derek C. Williams says, as far as race goes, is more or less power dynamic more than genetics. It since became genetic over the centuries. Well, that's like this whole thing about race as a construct, right? Well, everything that we are aware of in society is a construct. When we put names to things, we have constructed a name for that thing. It's a social construct. It has to be, right? For everybody to understand what we're talking about. So when it comes to race, yes, you can say it's a construct, but race, when you say, oh, that guy's black or that guy's white, well, it's just a name we use to make the distinction. But the distinction exists. What you call or what you name that distinction or how you distinctify it is a construct. But if you have a group of people like the people of Australia, right? Well, they have a certain custom culture. They look a certain way based on the region they have existed in for thousands of years. That is nature, right? That is nature, natural dynamics. That is natural evolution, or whatever you want to call it. Just like the people in Japan, they look a certain way based on the region they were in. The people of China, the same. Russia, they look a certain way because of their environment. Those are not social constructs. Those are scientific realities. What you call those people or how you make those distinctions are the constructs, because there has to be a collective understanding of what we are calling something. Right? Does that make sense? A squirrel is a squirrel, right? But we name it a squirrel, right? We came up with this universal language, or this language called English. English is a social construct because humans created it for communication. So, yes, the squirrel is the squirrel. The squirrel is the squirrel no matter what you call it. Just like another rodent is like a mouse or a field mouse, that's a field mouse. So we call the field mouse a field mouse, and we call the squirrel a squirrel. The words we're using to call them those things are social constructs, but the squirrel itself is not a social construct. There is this distinct difference between a squirrel and a motherfucking field mouse. There's a distinct difference. It is what it is. Derek C. Williams says, however, a piss poor white is of no use to the elite, as are blacks and every other minority. These are facts. That is a fact. That's why I make the distinction. I choose to call them the elite class, and we down here the proletariat class. I have that understanding, right? You have the elite class, you got the proletariat class. The elite class don't give a fuck about anybody in the proletariat class, but they will create a system, right? They will create a system like the justice system to target subgroups and subsections of that proletariat class more than other subgroups and subsections of that proletariat class, right? Because they want to convince you that that you guys should be divided, that there should be division. They do that for a reason, right? They create this division, they perpetuate it They use the system to do it. They use the system to do it, to target one group over the other, because it helps them. It serves their purpose. It serves their purpose. At the end of the day, we are all enslaved. It's just one group has more shackles tied to them than the other group. It is what it is. Darcy C. Williams says, if you are a believer, we are supposed to the family of man. But in practice, it comes down to who has the juice. That would be the elite. It's them and everyone else, the proletariat. Yes. But there are subgroups and subsections of that proletariat class that they want to have division amongst. So they will create a system and perpetuate a system that keeps that division going. It is what it is. And when you have the dominant culture, right, that elite class, the dominant culture, they will give favor to the people that look and more like themselves. That's just the natural order of things. It is what it is. We the Sheeple says, wake up, people. They auto-capitalize the NFL and Amazon and McDonald's. Won't be auto-cap name a first world sentence. Okay. Patrick Collins says, nothing is going to change until them folks decide they don't want to be better than everyone else. Well, we can't wait on that. Ms. Oliver, that would be if you're a part of the big club. Yes, they won't target the poor white at the mall, but that's nothing in the grand. It's everything in the grand scheme of things. Darcy Williams. There's a reason, because that's why they do that. They do that. It's part of their agenda. It's everything in the grand scheme of things. It's the cog in the wheel. It's the cog in the wheel. That's how they are able to maintain their control, because they do things like, well, they'll target the poor black in the mall rather than the poor white. It's an integral part of their system. Just like back in the day during slavery, they used the Irish, right, to go against the black slaves, right? When the so-called white slaves, they were indentured servants. They had to serve out a certain contract, right? They didn't give a fuck about the Irish, but the Irish looked more like them. So guess what? They got more privileges. And so they convinced the white Irish, well, y'all gonna be the overseers. You're gonna serve out your contract, and then you can work for me as an overseer, or if you have enough money, you can go buy your own slaves. That was part of the reason they were able to maintain the chattel slavery for so long, because they were able to use the people that looked more like them but got almost as bad a treatment. They used them against those black slaves. They didn't do it the other way around. Somebody said lies. Tell me what the truth is. Desiree Oliver says, incoming revolution, take a page out of Francis' book. What we need is an evolution. I agree with you, Desiree Oliver. But revolutions, when you revolt, when you perform a revolution, you come right back to where you started. No, we need an evolution. We need to move forward past government rulership. Because during the Revolutionary War, what they did was they ended British rule over the colonies, but then they just created another central power structure and just kept the same thing going, but just on in a different regard, in a different way, right? So they got rid of the King George ruler. They got rid of the rulership of the king, but then they just created another power structure, a central power structure that pretty much committed tyranny against the people as well, right? It just was more hidden and more disguised. They were given the impression that, that you have a little bit more control thanks to the Constitution. But look at where we're at today. Yes, we do have to start somewhere. We do have to start somewhere, but it's how we finish. We don't want to revolve. We don't want to go in a circle. We want to. It might be a corkscrew. We might meander a little bit, but we need to go forward. And guess what? That means no government, right? Not replacing the government, but completely decentralizing and creating a whole new system that's more voluntary. No, my mama was not white, but thank you for trying. Y'all so concerned about what my race is, but don't worry about that. Derek C. Williams says, when I say grand scheme of things, he says that relates to how privileges are doled out. The poor white won't be accepted in the club. They're just disposable. Yeah, they are, but they will use them. Oh yeah, they are. They're disposable. Absolutely. Sunshine, salute to the beautiful sunshine in the building. She says, come in saying some dumb shit, denying what my people have been through, and I will kick your ass out of here. Well, alrighty then. Queen Mother Shaquila's in the building. Desiree Oliver said, oh, she talked to somebody else. Be careful, Desiree. No, I'm kidding. How are you embarrassed, not embarrassed? But why would I be embarrassed by Trump? I don't fuck with Trump. What are y'all thinking? I don't give a hot damn about no goddamn Trump. You got me fucked up. Trump is a piece of shit. Trump's a piece of shit. Camel Toe was a piece of shit. Joe Biden's a piece of shit. Barack Obama was a piece of shit. Hillary Clinton was a piece of shit. Bill Clinton was a piece of shit. George S.W. or what the fuck his name. They're all pieces of shit. They're all puppets. They're willing puppets. Salute to Michelle. Michelle, I appreciate you. Thank you. Who would I like to see in office? I would like to see the office dismantled and demolished. I want the office gone. Fuck that office. Fuck that office. You know what I want to see? Individual sovereignty, self-sufficiency. I want to see the end of eminent domain. I want to see the end of the Federal Reserve. I want to see the end of the IRS. I want to see all that shit abolished. I want to see abolish the government. No, we need the military because our government has created so many enemies around the world that we can't just get rid of the military, right? We got to keep it in place. The only thing is we got to bring them back home and secure what we got. Because if we do, if we get rid of our government, if we get rid of our military, then China and Russia and all these other countries, hell, even the UK, the UN, they'll try to come up in here and take over. They'll say, the United States is in shambles. Oh, look at all the chaos and all that going on in the United States, and they'll try to come over here and take over. No. Nah. No, I'm cool on that. So you saying you want to live in Paterson, New Jersey? I don't know anything about Paterson, New Jersey. When was the last time China fought a war? In the 50s. The Korean War, China was involved in that. China was in the Korean War. They were helping the North Koreans. But, the thing about China not having had a war in 70 years is that they were able to save a lot of money to build up their arsenal. Yeah. Whereas we continue to spend money And we give our arsenal to everybody. We give it to fucking Ukraine. We give it to goddamn. We give our military equipment away, right? We're constantly using it and giving it to other countries to wage war. China gets to keep all that shit. They're building up a nice little arsenal. We spend 3 times the amount of defense as they do. Yes, because we're constantly handing out weapons. We're handing out ammunition. We're handing out ordnance. We're giving this shit away. We're leaving it in Afghanistan. We're leaving billions of dollars of equipment in Afghanistan. China's not doing that. Yeah, they're smart. They say, we're going to save our shit for a real goddamn war, a war that is necessary. Whereas we continue to fund proxy wars and give weapons out and all this other shit. Desiree Oliver says, y'all come in here asking questions and making statements that aren't even on the topic, and you wonder why you're brainwashed. Begging for someone to respond when info is free and you can think for free. The beautiful YouTube Desiree Oliver knows what she speaks of. China has a much larger capacity, says Sean Goddard, a much larger capacity for manufacturing their weapons and naval fleet. Jason McMaster said you will be speaking in Chinese in 2 years. I wouldn't say 2 years. I'd say 10 years. 10 years. Charlie is a Kabbalist, Freemason. Google the red bracelet of the Kabbalah. I believe it. I mean, but listen, maybe he decided that he didn't want to do that no more. Darius Williams says, you give your arms away, you get whatever you get when a kinetic conflict jumps off. Yeah. I mean, ISIS had our weapons. The Taliban had our weapons from the Russian war in Afghanistan, where we helped Afghanistan fight off Russia. China, they've been keeping their shit. China's building up their arsenal. Tucker Carlson, Erica Kirk, Candace Owens all wear the red bracelet. Interesting. I don't know anything about that. Andrew Hernandez says, my grandma always told me there would be a China man knocking on my door one day when her company moved. Well, don't be surprised. And this is what I'm saying. This is why we need our military intact, right? Because there's going to be a power vacuum. If you dismantle the central government, you break it down and bring it back to state powers, and you break it down further from there, and eventually you get what you're supposed to get. Oh yeah, there's going to be a power vacuum. And it's not just going to be foreign nations trying to come over here and take over, but there are also going to be factions within the country. They're going to try to rise from within and replace the government. So it's always going to be those types of dangers, right? It will always be danger involved. There will always be danger, whether you have complete sovereignty of self, and you have voluntarism and anarchy. There will always be dangers, regardless. It just, what danger do you want? Do you want the danger of freedom, or do you want the danger of enslavement? Do you want the danger of government control and tyranny? Which one do you want? Desiree Oliver says they were probably second cousins, Chris and Tiger. That's funny. Darius Williams says a ton of our fighting force is overweight, woke, and demoralized. Sounds like a self-inflicted wound by the leaders of our forces. Yeah, it's crazy. Who do you think pays the government? The military? We do. We pay the military. We fund the military industrial complex. Yeah. So that's all I got for now, y'all. I'll come back later. Definitely want to talk about how they kidnapped members of the Freedom Fleet, or the Freedom Flotilla, in international waters, trying to bring aid to the Gazans. And Bibi Nosferatu was telling y'all that they have gone out of their way to preserve the lives of civilians of an enemy nation. Full of shit. Anastasia Barunda says, thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate y'all time for coming through and checking me out, y'all. Yeah, don't read the real comments, says Chase Away. I can't read every comment. I mean, goddamn, y'all. Listen, the best way to get your comment looked at is dropping a super chat. That is the most standout way. I'm not, it is what it is, right? And and I encourage you guys to check out my book, The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease. You can actually get it for free if you have Kindle on Amazon. Y'all can get the hard copy. You know what I'm saying? The hard copy is $15. The ebook is $3.99 and it's free on Kindle, y'all. Andrew Hernandez says, we don't agree on everything, but you cool and I like your approach. And that's how it should be. We don't always have to agree. The idea is to discuss what the disagreements are and come to an understanding. And hopefully, because at the end of the day, if I can convince y'all that the best way for a human being to live is to be completely sovereign and to eradicate tyranny, if I can bring you guys closer to that level of thinking, man, then I'm doing something right. I feel like I'm doing something right. Angela Sazul says, you just gained a new subscriber. This was the first time I've seen you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Angela. Yes, please check out The Seeds of Dark Matter. The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease. Dwight Patterson said that's what Charlie was doing. He might have been. He did talk to everybody, right? Any people that disagree with him. Even when he got destroyed in Cambridge, he talked to them too. So, can't knock him for that. So, the only problem with Charlie Kirk is that he was not independent. Charlie Kirk, and I mean financially, right? The best way to do this is through grassroots effort where your supporters support you, right? When you start getting these big organizations and these big PACs and these big corporations, they fund you, they're going to want something. That's the only problem that Charlie Kirk had, is that he was not independent. And when he tried to become independent to a degree, he didn't do it. He took half measures, okay? And that allowed them to pin it on someone else, is my opinion. Dick Grayson says, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Sure. You guys can say, listen, if you guys got anything positive to say about Charlie Kirk or negative in my comment section, I have no problem with either one. But salute to y'all. Much love. I'll holler at y'all later. Like, share, subscribe. And we're going to keep marching forward toward freedom and truth. And we're going to expose the tyranny one step at a time. Peace out, y'all. Y'all stay up.